Hi, this is Kim Watson of Ezeetrader. Welcome to a midweek review. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you had an absolutely superb one, and I wish you all the very best for the coming year. So, a lot of thinking over the new year, over the Christmas break, even leading into the new year with a longer holiday than normal. One thing, I was sitting on a train, and I sometimes play mind games. Well, that's what they call them in the Times. You got this Sudoku and some other games or whatever, but it's just a game where you just fill the numbers in, and once you finish a puzzle, looks something like this, and you sit there on the train. Things happen. You're just struggling to work out what number goes exactly where you're looking for it to run, and you look and you can't see it. Something happens. You look up, you look away, you look back, and there it is. Bang, straight in front of you. Now, it's funny, that actually happened to me a few times. I brought my father a whole pad of it. He's in a hospital at the moment. I bought him a book of Sudoku, only to find out he doesn't like the game. So I ended up bringing it home and sitting there doing them and having exactly the same experience time and time again. And I was really thinking how this affects us in the markets and when we're looking and when we're trading. Sometimes we sit there in the mornings and we can be looking at a market. And you can take the euro yesterday. There was a certain point yesterday when we were looking at it, and in actual fact, I thought there was a reasonable chance, there's a reasonable probability we may have come back to that daily pivot. And you sit there and stare at it, and then the obvious starts appearing. You've effectively mapped in what you think is going to happen, as opposed to what might happen, the alternatives. And it's so important with the markets is to look away, come back, refresh. And exactly the same thing there. Just came away, looked at some other markets, come back to it, looked at some different time frames, thought actually we're in a downward trend here as we're running through. We've got lower highs, lower lows. There's a reasonable chance of some downside. Yes, there was a good probability of that daily pivot being hit, but it's a matter of the open mind. Now, the mind certainly does play games with you, and sometimes you're looking at something, and it's like the old saying, "You can't see with the wood for the trees." So often is pretty applicable. And you're just looking too much into it. Walk away, come back, and I really recommend you do it. Also, look at the different time frames. We always talk about multiple time frame analysis. It's so essential, because otherwise the charts will play games with your mind, or your mind will play games with you, whichever. But it was really an observation. It is that important just to walk away, come back, look at it again. Maybe look at something else and look at something different from a chart. Look at something, walk out, make a cup of tea, come back, and you see something completely different. Anyway, I just want to share that with you. This thought for the week and the new year. So let's just do some analysis then of the current position and where we may be running to. Looking at the euro dollar first, and we've still got some key figures coming out this week. Of course, non-farm payrolls comes out on Friday, and there's a bit of hawkishness around the potential of interest rate increases coming in. I'm recording this at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. At 7 o'clock this evening, we've got the FMC report, so we may see a very different case in a short while. In an hour's time, we may see a very different looking daily chart. Again, with mind games, you come back, look at it, review it. But for now, certainly, in what we're looking at, it would suggest, what I'm seeing here is that the bias is really to the downside. We confirmed the lower high in here. The suggestion may be that we get some continuation. However, I do have a little sort of inflection point indicator which gives us the sort of overbought, oversold areas, and it's suggesting that it may just be a point of consolidation here. Now, of course, the news may completely spoil that and kill that, and this is the important thing, is to keep an open mind. So if that spoils it, fine. If it breaks it, whatever. But we could at some point here see either consolidation. This is a weaker inflection point rather than a stronger one, slightly weaker. It's come up there, and so there is the potential that we could at least consolidate, maybe for the rest of the day, certainly, maybe get a bit more movement, but running into tomorrow even. So I am watching that quite carefully. We may even see a bit of a bounce from where we are. So looking at the market as it is, a break of these yesterday's lows will at some point may see us coming down. As I say, the main trend here to me is really downwards. I'm getting a bit of a signal suggesting it may just be stuttering here at this point. We've already hit the weekly pivot. We could easily come down to that S1 pivot and the prior lows there. It certainly would look like it a logical move to occur. So just watching for that, but it could at that point there, if it's really indicating an oversold period picture to me around that sort of that level towards those lows, I may be considering a bounce from there and looking for a playback. But for now, main emphasis is weakness, but as I say, I'm very aware of what's going on here in terms of getting us a weakish signal. Okay, a weak to middling. Whereas with cable, I'm getting no oversold signal. RSI is getting low and getting towards the extreme area. We've still got the untouched monthly pivot above us, so there's a potential for that at some point to be hit. But at the moment, with the euro really in a downward trend, it's a clearer downward trend with the pound, and at the moment it could easily, the way this is just tracking its way down, head off towards the S1 pivot, maybe even the S2 pivot at this rate. So at the moment, looking weak. Any break of this trend, if we get any sort of decent break, reversals, I would be looking for the monthly pivot. It does get hit, high probability of that being hit at some point during the month. So any sort of rallies, I'd be looking at it as a target from that point of view. But for now, I've just got to play with the trend there. Still weak against the US dollar. Of course, there are some key numbers coming in. If I'm trying to think where the next, we've got the 144.50 sort of area coming through. But there are some levels, but you have to go back quite a way now. Actually, let's just do that. It's right way back to April last year when we start running back to this 145 at 80, 90 area. So 70 area even. So that's the sort of next sort of key point. It's not too far away when you're actually looking at it, and then it's there's actually it's not looking, just refreshing. Yep, these are higher, so that would be a quite a significant low there to be watching for. Now maybe just heading back down towards that to test it, so certainly well worth watching. Right, that's the pound dollar. Let's have a look at the dollar yen. Dollar yen's been gaining somewhat over the last few days, weeks, since mid-December, gaining on the basis of China's weakness, and it's really money running towards safety, I think, here as much as anything else. Seen probably more of a safety currency in that respect. Has a less emphasis, less bearing on commodities or anything itself. It actually uses commodities more, so net importer of those sort of things. So it's probably benefiting to some respect at the moment. So we have got the monthly pivot above us. So at the moment, though, it's in a good downward trend. Not really getting any oversold signals yet at the moment. And the inflection points there, it is still running. Could run down. It's near some prior lows here, which pointed out to down the room. Trading room. Both these levels could come into play if we see a continuation here. But at the moment, again, the dollar yen is looking weak on this one. So a bit opposite to the pound and the euro there. Okay, Aussie dollar, obviously strong commodity currency, and the Chinese data's really hitting it again. It started, it picked up mid-December, looking quite strong again, but it's really sold off. Decent pivot swing there on Monday. Tuesday see a continuation, and Wednesday even further as the further uncertainties continue. This could well head back towards that 70 area and maybe below. Technically, just looking at prior lows there, we've got possibly some support at that previous bottom there at 70.13, 70.14, somewhere in that region. And then that probably is not too far off. Then the next area I'd be looking for, we had some demand kicking around here. We had a really sharp sell-off day there. But just looking at the S2 pivot, maybe at 69.68 may be a bit of provide some support. We had, as I say, buying coming in around those sort of levels previously, so just watch it. I think last time it was a bit of a flush move that day on the 4th of September, and then obviously recovered reasonably well from that. Tested it a few times before, but if we do see a solid test of that and it just run, well, there's always a chance it could run and continue running through. But for now, bearish at the moment, but we've had some big sell-offs. Maybe it will find a bit of consolidation. We'll see in the next day or so, but my focus has really got to be to the downside there. Canadian dollar, well, Canadian dollar is struggling. I've got oil here. Let's just bring oil in first, because it's really a opposite the oil price really. What's going on there? You see oil's making, actually today it's making even further lows here. We could well be on for the $30 barrel sooner rather than later here, regardless of the unrest in the Middle East. There, we're still seeing oil selling off quite strongly, so this really does affect the Canadian dollar. As you can see, it's made near-term highs. I had to go right back to monthlies to look at this earlier on, and even then you're having to go back to 2003 and somewhere in that region, and then you're getting towards the 1.6 area. So it's a long way off. It's a very steep curve here in terms of the monthlies even. Sorry about the other data on there. The weekly, well, still steep. Could at some point see a decent correction in all of this. There is some divergence with this move here. It's not at this level overbought or anything from my signals here, so there is a possibility it could continue, but as I say, there is the divergence between the prior highs and where we're sitting at the moment. And the monthly pivot below, there is a possibility. Really need to be watching oil with this though. Okay, that's it, pretty much it for me. Hope you have a great week. That's my view for the week anyway. News-wise, as I say, this week really we've got non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday. Is really the big thing coming here. Tomorrow we've not got too much. Running into next week, we've always got a bit of a quiet period after non-farm payrolls. It all seems like after a Lawmare show really. Just looking through manufacturing production on Tuesday for the UK, which may just give us a kick, and then we're back towards Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, maybe a tad on the light side. It certainly is tad on the light in terms of economic news. So left purely to technicals and whatever we get hit by. That's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.